They knocked the pants off crackhead Tony. One thing about them crackheads though, he might be good. Yup, there you go. Told you. Yeah, he ain't doing that dope. He doing steroids. Crackhead Tony, he's shooting steroids in his ass. Pull your pants up. We'll shoot. Run, crackhead Tony. Run. Watch out for that car. There you go. And then they drove up. There you go. That's why I said watch out for that. They knocked the pants off crackhead Tony. Watch out for that car. They knocked the pants off crackhead Tony.
Yo.
One thing about them crackheads though, he might be good. Run, crackhead Tony. Run. Watch out for that car. There you go. And then they drove up. There you go. That's why I said watch out for that car. They knocked the pants off crackhead Tony. One thing about them crackheads though, he might be good. Yup, there you go. Told you. Yeah, he ain't doing that dope. He doing steroids. Crackhead Tony, he's shooting steroids in his ass. Pull your pants up. We'll shoot. Run, crackhead Tony. Run. Watch out for that car. There you go. And then they drove up. There you go.
Yo, and then they drove off. There you go. Yo, watch out, crackhead Tony. Watch out for that car. They done knocked the pants off crackhead Tony. He might be all right though. Yep, he good. There you go. He good. That nigga doing dope. He shooting steroids in his ass. Put your pants up, Tony. Yo. Yo. You said watch out for that car, crackhead Tony. Yo. That's why I hate selling drugs, man. Crackheads are the fucking worst. I hate dealing with fiends, man. These motherfuckers is funny, but they can be annoying as shit too. Like I said, pull your pants up. That shit take the headache away. Motherfucking crackhead Tony. I gotta get mine. How we doing this morning, guys? And he ain't even. So I had another idea too. So I'm gonna do this painting, and then I'm gonna do another little cardboard painting just to have like at the bottom, like leaning against this easel, like he's a really, you know, busy painter. He's a really busy painter. So I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do, if it's gonna be like a little puppy or a rose or something. Just another little quick painting, just to lean against the easel for aesthetics.
Good morning, wet farters. Hashtag afraid to fart. So this is a wonderful Wednesday wet fart welcome. And that's an interesting start to the day. A wet fart. What a fucking nightmare. Has it ever happened to you that you've been woken in the morning by a wet fart? And you just think, oh, I'll just like that. I can feel my belly rumbling. I'll just
You ever been woken up by a wet fart? We call it shards here in America. You ever shard yourself? I know my son. My son, well, my stepson. He knew the word shard, but he was really just trying to get a clear understanding. I forgot where we was coming from. But we was walking somewhere, man. We was walking from somewhere. We was walking home. And then he kind of paused for a minute. Then he looked at me. He was like, "Dad, What is a shard? I said a shard. I was like, it's like when you fart, but you poo on yourself a little bit. He's like, yeah, I think I just did that. I just looked at him and we both just started laughing at each other. Yo, he just looked and laughed. He was like, yeah, I think I just did that. I was like, damn, nigga, let's hurry up and get home, man. We gotta walk double time now. Dad, what is a shark? Hey man, it's when you try to it's a shit fart, man. You fart, a little bit of shit come up. He's like, yeah, I think I just did that. Shark. Early in the morning. All right. I like this little painting actually. I wonder if I should really try to paint with acrylics on the canvas. Like really give it a good try. I don't know. I don't know if acrylics is funny or not. We're about to hop into it in a minute, guys. Oh, I don't look too bad. Wendy, good morning. What we think of the painting so far? Man, this coffee hitting the spot right now. I ain't even lying. A big Saturday. Big Saturday morning. It's almost done. I got to get the other side. A video game backdrop. Hey, kinda like some Far Cry type shit. We're gonna put some more stumps on this side, and this right here is a tree. We got to detail that one a little bit, and then add some highlights on these tall trees back here. Not a lot more to go. Oh boy, it's like I can't get enough of this coffee right now. I'm trying to gulp this shit down. Mm. Cardboard holding pretty steady. I thought it was gonna like warp and deform. I'm trying to use like mostly straight paint without a lot of water. Didn't want the cardboard to get too wet. We're gonna add a little more here, and then we'll be done. And then like I said, I want to do a delivery truck. Hmm. Like picking up the timber. I don't know if I had the overhead light on when I was doing this or not yesterday. Let me turn that on. Is any of this still wet? Well, some of them might have a little life in it, but not really. Let me get this iPad on. Got Amazon truck. Your audio is off?
tuning plugin for vocals. Here's why.
If you're so in love, then why?
Reason number one,
This weekend, your birthday weekend, Broski?
Secret.
No, don't do
Many
that.
are already using Xtool Apparel Printer to take orders from home. Someone said,
Find this beef tallow balm in stores because it's so powerful, it's making men over 60 look 30 again. Yes, you don't find this beef tallow balm in a department store or in...
Some of the cowboy movies. Yeah, as they was moving across, they was clearing the land, making way for new homesteads, ranches, and townships. This motherfucker painting on some cardboard.
next year is the year that AI models go from not being good enough, the dumb member of your team, and again, the people listening to this will be like, yeah, the AI is not good enough. Then overnight, it becomes good enough. And then the job losses start, and we don't know where they end.
Welcome back to The Tea with me, Miriam Poswa. Before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode of The Tea. If you want to support the show and help shape future episodes, join our Patreon community. Think of it as the resistance. Plus, if you're in our top tier, you'll get access to ad-free episodes. The link's in our bio. Your economic life expectancy is shrinking. Not your job, not your career, but your economic relevance as a human being. We're living through a historical moment of unprecedented upheaval, a finite window in which the rules of civilization are being rewritten. This is no speculation. This is a phase transition. These are the words of Emad Mostaque, founder of Stability AI, mathematician, former hedge fund manager, and one of the defining architects of the AI revolution. Raised between Jordan and the UK and educated at Oxford, Emad's book, The Last Economy, published in August 25, warns we have roughly 1,000 days to make the essential decisions to shape this technology's future. Fail to act, and we risk catastrophe. AI is transforming the world at a breakneck pace. The release of ChatGPT's 5th generation has brought cheaper, faster models, outperforming humans in physics, coding, and maths. Amazon plans to automate 600,000 jobs. Tech giants are freezing hiring, and the IMF predicts 60% of jobs will be impacted by emerging AI. But this isn't only about technology or money. The stakes are enormous. Have we been oversold AI's promise at a huge economic cost to us all? Is it just hype? Or do we face a future where humans lose all economic and social value? Can AI ever be effectively regulated? And in the midst of the so-called AI arms race, how does ethics feature in the development of these potential weapons of the future? AI development raises urgent, complex questions. Who controls these powerful systems? How do we ensure they reflect human values and not corporate agendas? What safeguards can we put in place? And most importantly, how do we shape AI to serve everyone, not just the powerful in the global north? Understanding this moment and how we navigate it may be the defining challenge of our age. Mad, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So you used to work in hedge funds. You then moved over to AI. What drew you to the world of AI?
So I was a hedge fund manager, investing around the world. It was a great lot of fun, making rich people richer. And then my son was diagnosed with autism, and they told me there was no cure, no treatment. So I quit and started advising them and built an AI team to analyze all the literature, all of the knowledge there, and then did drug repurposing to help him get better. And he eventually went to mainstream school.
So did the AI help you on that journey?
I think it was the people and the AI. It was like autism, like COVID, like Alzheimer's, like other things. People don't really know what caused it. So I used the AI with large language models, well, little language models at the time, to try and figure out what are some of the key drivers there, because there's just too much information. And then we narrowed down on a few potential pathways, worked with the doctors, and on an N=1, his individual basis, we managed to figure out something that helped.
And so for people who might not be familiar with your work, how would you say your approach distinguishes you from perhaps other people within the AI space? What's your sort of, unique selling point, as it were?
So from the autism, we then did work on AI for COVID, and then in Stability AI, my last company, we realized that you need to have open source AI. What that means is you don't know what's inside a ChatGPT, you don't know what's inside a Midjourney, all these kind of other things. And that's because they're primarily driven by corporate concerns. Whereas we realized that if you had, for example, something like DALL-E, which was the original image generator by OpenAI, they banned all Ukrainians and Ukrainian content from it for 6 months. Why? Because nobody knows. And all of a sudden you had an entire nation that was erased from the outputs and that couldn't access this technology that we realized would be huge.
And who had erased them?
OpenAI decided not to allow any Ukrainian content or Ukrainians to use it. That was in 2022. And so we built an image generator called Stable Diffusion that anyone, anywhere could download free of charge open source onto their laptop and generate anything effectively.
So essentially, if I could simplify it, a pushback against potential forms of censorship in some cases.
I think it's a control question. I think it's an alignment question. Like, these models are becoming more and more like employees, graduates, friends that you bring in, but you don't know their background. You don't know what's inside the training data, where they've been to school, who they're representing. And so we think there's a sovereignty question here, and that someone needs to build the open models and systems so you can tailor them to your own needs and they can represent you. And they can look out for you, not other interests.
That sounds pretty important, particularly because the amount of money going into AI right now is staggering. So companies worldwide spent around $252 billion on AI last year. That's up nearly 45% in just 1 year. Many call this an arms race. A recent poll found that 53% of Americans believe AI may one day, quote unquote, destroy humanity. Yet AI is already part of our daily life, right? People are using ChatGPT every day. They're using it for therapy to create AI-generated music. AI models are being found in vogue now. But there is this warning that seems to come through from people that work in this sector that we are on the edge of an apocalypse. So before we get to that question, because I know you've tackled it in your book, can you help us understand, are we really headed on a rapid downward spiral right now?
Stuff is going to change. And the question is which direction? So I think economically, socially, this is a bigger impact than COVID, for example. But again, which direction is the question?
Well, COVID was the biggest transfer of wealth in our generation from the bottom to the top. So that's a little worrying.
And it could be, again, the same, or it could be a great means of empowerment. The previous generation of AI, the big data age that you heard, the Facebook and others, they took massive amounts of data to micro-target you ads. But it was very general, it wasn't very specific. Whereas when you talk to a ChatGPT, it's a different type of AI that's learned principles, and they could tailor to your very individual needs. But it also means that it's capable of things like winning gold medals in international math Olympiads, or winning physics Olympiads, being a better coder than you are. And we've never seen anything quite like that before, because you always had this link between computation and consciousness. You need to scale people to do these things. Now you just need to scale GPUs. And these models have basically gone graphical processing units, these NVIDIA chips, as it were. That's what hundreds of billions, actually trillions, are being spent on. I think it's 1.8 trillion is the current build-outs.
And that's what the kids in Congo are mining.
Yeah, they do the little materials that go into these GPUs. There's a whole supply chain around the world. But this is why NVIDIA is a $5 trillion company now. And again, trillion-dollar companies are all competing over who figures out intelligence the fastest to outcompete everyone else for corporate kind of needs.
And intelligence in the context of this conversation is what? The processing capacity, the ability to compute large amounts of information in rapid amounts of time, in small amounts of time?
Yeah, so AI is about information classification. Something goes in and then it classifies it and it comes out. And again, it used to be your preferences from what you clicked on Facebook went in and then it targeted on the output. Now it's a prompt goes in where you type into ChatGPT and an image comes out or an essay comes out or anything like this. Part of that is the physical chip, like your graphics card in your gaming PC. It's actually the same technology that drives your Cyberpunk or your FIFA or whatever. But part of it is the algorithms. So when you have an algorithmic upgrade, it gets smarter. So yesterday, Google released their Gemini 3 model, for example. That probably cost $100, $200 million to build. Yeah, same as a Hollywood movie, actually. But with that,
It used to cost,
yeah. If you go to something like replit.com and you type in, make me a wonderful interactive website for the tea with Miriam Francois, it will do it and it'll actually be really good and it will cost 50 cents.
Well, you have to let me in on that tech because the tech I'm using is not quite there yet, but yes.
Last week it wasn't. So what happens is we're getting these big jumps in performance and we're at this tipping point whereby the actual intelligence is shifting. Most people listening to this, when they use an AI, a ChatGPT, it's like having a really smart person in your office that you tap on the shoulder and say, "Wait, help me rewrite this email." And it rewrites the email and then it forgets.
Yes.
there's no follow through, there's no real economic work, because economic work is more than a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Now the AIs are getting smarter, not only on the instant reply prompts, but being able to work on very complicated multitask things. That's only in the last few months. So the latest race is to go from the goldfish memory prompt-based things to replacement of economic work.
Right, which takes us neatly to your prediction in your book. So you say in the last economy, we've got a 1,000-day window before things become irreversible. Basically, in the sense that AI gets past a certain point where we won't be able to slow it down or control its direction. So what exactly becomes irreversible in 1,000 days from publication, which was 3 months ago, because you published this book in August? And how did you come to that number?
So when I published it in August, it was 1,000 days since the day release of ChatGPT. Now we're at the 3-year anniversary this week. And it doesn't feel like 3 years.
No.
It feels like a lot longer than that. And in that period, you've gone from quite dumb responses to less dumb responses. But now you're about to take off as you have these agents, these things that can write their own prompts, that can check their own work coming through. So the 1,000-day window is actually not about irreversibility alignment. It's more about your economic value. So most labor in the global north and the west, UK, etc., is cognitive. And it's how do you do a tax return? It's how do you do a flyer? How do you make a website? It used to be that, again, to scale these things, you have to hire humans. Now you just have to rent GPUs from Microsoft or Google or others. And the cost is about to collapse. What we're going to have in this next period, and we can see all the building blocks there, those of us that are right inside, is in the next 6 to 12 months, they will look through all your emails, all your drafts, all your video calls, and be able to create a digital replica of you that you can hop on a Zoom call with or talk to on the phone. And that will not make mistakes. It will never get tired. And the cost of that, we estimate, will be about $1,000 a year, dropping to $100 a year very quickly.
Okay, I'm seeing loads of potential complications with having a version of me out there in the
What
universe
the
making decisions potentially.
Yo, so right now we have a digital footprint, and we do have our digital doppelganger, I guess, because even now, if you apply to a company for a new position, most people check your social media background and check your Twitter feed and your Facebook and your Instagram, and they're gonna Google. Well, you already do a criminal background check, and so now on top of your work history and your criminal history, they do a deep dive on your social history. And so we already have like this digital representation of ourselves. But now to purposely create one that will interact with the digital world for us. Once again, if you read all my fucking emails and my text messages and my website and my YouTube and everything that I searched up, then you can just pretend to be me. The AI can just pretend to be me because it knows everything that I know, everything that I like, everything that I'm interested in. The way that I create emails or text messages, the words that I choose to use more frequently, and yeah, just put that motherfucker online and be like, reply to all emails for today. Send me a summary when you're done. Reply to all emails. Send me the summary. Oh, there's a new art grant out there. Apply to this art grant for me. That's it. That's all I got to tell it to do. Hey, just apply for the grant for me. I'm not about to type in shit or do nothing. My AI double knows exactly how to fill that shit in better than I do. All right, guys, I'm about ready for a bathroom break. Bathroom break, cause the coffee can't wait. It can't wait. Bathroom break. I'm about ready. It can't wait. No, that coffee cannot wait. Yeah. Oh shit! I'll be right back. You definitely got to listen to some more of this podcast. This is gonna be a good one. All right. Put that podcast back on.
Without my approval, and sort of thinking what it thinks that I would think and making decisions accordingly. Lots of perks,
Lots of perks, exactly.
but also lots of risks.
Lots of risks. And this is the thing. The capability is coming in the next few years. So within, let's say, 900 days or so, any job you can do on the other side of a screen, an AI will be able to do better. And it will be able to, maybe it's not Miriam or Emad, it's Emad's job, as it were, within that. Like a tax return, for example, used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. It will cost $1 to do. And Andy will be your virtual tax accountant. You can't tell if it's a human or an AI. Now, it doesn't mean that the jobs will be replaced, but they can be replaced.
Okay, so on this one, I have two questions. One is, this mechanical work, and apologies to accountants, because I'm sure you're not mechanical, but there is something you'd call mechanical work. And then there's something, I'm in a creative industry. I like to think, as I'm sure most people do, that I'm irreplaceable. Are you telling me that the sum total of not just all the studies I've done, all the experiences I've had, the ways in which they interact in my brain, that there is a better version of me that can exist in the digital space?
So what is the verifiability of that? What are you measuring against is the question, right? And so a version of you that can speak automatically in every language and appear on every single outlet virtually has more reach, and it never gets tired. And again, what's the cost of that? In terms of the quality of the output, it can learn from your exact intonations as you're speaking. You can go to something like HeyGen, and you can create an avatar of yourself right now in 5 minutes. It speaks 100 languages.
Yes.
And it's just got good enough literally in the last month again, whereas previously I wouldn't say it was good enough. Now I'm like, it's good enough for a lot of things, but where's it going to be in a year from now and 2 years from now? So when we're talking about economic work, a lot of economic work is rote and mechanic. Our schools and our jobs are designed to turn us into machines. And obviously the machines will be better than we are at being machines.
Yes.
When it comes to creativity and output, the best output doesn't always sell. It's about your distribution. Like I give the example of Taylor Swift. Apologies to the fans. She is not the best artist in the world.
Apologies to the Swifties.
Exactly. I'd say premium mediocre, like Dashim or something like that.
Yes.
But she built a massive network. She can change GDP. She can cause earthquakes in that way. But again, it's not the highest version of art. Just like the number of key changes in the Billboard Top 100 is now 0 from multiple a few years ago. What sells isn't necessarily what's creative, and what sells, just look at K-pop.
And I guess also in this conversation then is what sells what we think of as what's best. Because I could think of, for example, for me personally, there are brands, for example, clothing brands that sell loads. Don't particularly like them. There are very small brands that I love, that I think are incredible. So I think it also takes us, I guess, into a conversation over what we attribute value to and what we will attribute value to as we move into this era. Just quickly, this 1,000 days. So you said when you wrote the book, it had been 1,000 days since ChatGPT had been created. Why does your prediction that we have 1,000 days to solve this conundrum that we're in, where did you get that figure from?
So it's an extrapolation of things like the length of task that an AI can do. At the start of the year, it was about 10 seconds. Now it's 7 hours. You can literally plot it, and it's a straight line as you look up. It's a look at the economic value of each task. Again, the straight line going up. It's a look at performance. A year ago, ChatGPT was basically a high school mathematician. A few months ago, it won a gold medal in the International Math Olympiad. And it came first in the International Coding Olympiad. And first in the International Physics Olympiad.
Can it beat you in coding?
Yes, it's a better coder than me and a better mathematician than me.
Oh, Emad.
No. You've got to be realistic. But again, the version that you're using now, at the start of the year, the version you were using was the best version that was out there. Today, it's not. GPT-5 is not the best version that OpenAI has.
No, I can imagine they've got a few in the stockroom.
Yeah, but like I said, at the start of the year, that wasn't the case. So again, when you're using it, it's getting smarter, but it's not actually what the state of the art is. And the state of the art is something that's basically coming for your cognitive value. Like right now, we're spinning up agents that they don't cost $10 a month, they cost $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And they're way smarter and more capable than us as we're testing them out. And you feel like the dumbest person on the team. And that's where humanity is going to be in a few years for most cognitive labor. The value of human cognitive labor will probably turn negative.
Okay, so spell this out to me in terms of concrete manifestations of this change for people listening to this, watching this. What should they be attentive to in terms of what your warning is coming?
If your job can be done on the other side of a screen remotely, like not the human touch of sales or interactions, an AI will be able to do your job better within 2 to 3 years. And it will cost probably less than $1,000 a year to do it. And that cost is dropping by 10 times every year as well. So what you need to do is you either need to use these tools to build your AI teams to be the most productive person in your organization. You need to leverage this to actually give it down because the AI doesn't really care, right? Leveraging these tools and actually caring about your organization, your community, whatever, allows you to have that extension and more capability. And then you need to build your network. Like ultimately, like I said, even though we will be able to technically replace the jobs, people don't like firing people. It's bad for morale, you know? And in certain sectors, you're probably okay, like the public sector. Like a San Francisco Metro administrator earning $480,000 isn't going to get replaced by an AI.
I've heard you say this before, and I actually think that's really counterintuitive to me because I would have thought public sector is exactly where we're going to see the first applications of this, like we've seen in Albania, you know, them willing out this AI minister, you know, yes, which to us seems very odd, but I imagine there'll be a normalization of these sorts of processes, first and foremost by poorer countries in public sector spaces. What makes you say that's the space that jobs won't be cut in? Is it unions, the power of unions?
Exactly, it won't be cut, but we finally have a chance for our governments to become more efficient and aligned. And again, this can be a great equalizer. Like the average IQ around the world is 90. Mostly due to infrastructure issues. We built a medical model that fits on any phone or a Raspberry Pi, this $30 device that outperforms a human doctor. And it needs $5 of solar power to drive it. So for $60, you can give a top-level doctor anywhere in the world without internet. That's huge, the potential of that technology, when you didn't have the intelligence, capability, wisdom that can go to everyone. So I think the technology will be embraced. Public sector jobs will be safe because they'll be lost to go. And I think that, again, you look at this, your productivity will be determined by how engaged you are with this technology. Just like, do you know how to use a spreadsheet or a word processor? Are you an AI native? Will determine that. The most difficult thing isn't for the people who have the jobs, who can upskill themselves. It's the graduates entering the workforce.
Right, because there's actually a big freeze happening on the hiring of graduates, right? Which you're connecting to the integration of these new technologies into companies globally.
Yeah, there was a paper by Eric Ben Austinson and co at Stanford where they actually broke down the job slowdown. They saw it was in graduates in these cognitive areas. Because, I mean, again, anyone here who has a company is thinking like, why would I bother with a graduate when my people with a few years experience are more efficient now?
I mean, it's a really important question for our companies to consider because, you know, you don't just hire graduates because they're cheaper. You also hire them because they learn your company culture. They become integrated into forms of, you know, implicit learning that you are transmitting through day-to-day interactions. And I'd be very curious to see whether a technology that's not present in a room to capture that, you know, the shift of the eye, the sleight of the hand, the kind of, you know, the 70% of our communication, which is nonverbal, right? But which is also really essential to so many jobs. I'm looking forward to seeing where it stands on some of those things.
Yeah, until we get robots walking around, which is a few years from now.
Yeah, not far off. China's using a lot of them already, right?
The advances in robotics are crazy, actually. Like you've got robots that can basically, I think, do most household work are about 2-3 years away, and $1.50 an hour.
Inshallah.
And there we go, you know, it has to be teleoperated. But then, like, this is why the most dangerous at-risk jobs are the ones that can be done fully remotely.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you, because I want to dig into some of these issues with you. You're very clear in your writings and public speaking that you have a very clear moral baseline, which I'll be frank, I'm not hearing everywhere from others in your sector. So you speak about things like the fact that everyone deserves high quality education, high quality healthcare, presumably housing, forms of equality that we might traditionally have associated with the welfare state, for example. And you've also spoken about the fact that you think everyone should have access to universal AI, universal basic AI. Do you think most people who are working in the advancement of AI share your view about the need to democratize access to this technology?
I mean, I know all the big players, obviously, having, like, we had 300 million downloads of our models. We built state-of-the-art ones. It's difficult when you're in a race. Like, people fundamentally care about other humans, but when you're raising billions and other people are doing this, and you're trying to get state-of-the-art and trying to get users, there's this thing called the revenue evil curve. Like, most companies start out with don't be evil. And they're like, well, we can cut this corner, we can do this deal, and then they get more exclusionary, you know, they get more competitive. And it becomes then about, well, I can manipulate my users. You know, I can make this algorithm more and more engaging. I can have more slop effectively. And then you move to a level of amorality, and then it can shift very quickly.
And suddenly you're a crack dealer.
Well, pretty much. I mean, it's digital crack, this stuff.
Right.
Or, like, as an example, OpenAI Sam Altman recently said, well, we think it's the user's right for adult content via ChatGPT.
I did see that, and I did want to ask you about that.
What?
So this is a very practical example. So it would be like,
I knew this day been coming. So the first time, I don't know. I guess I'm very fucking cynical to start with. But the first time I put on the VR headset, bro, when I got the PlayStation VR drone, I don't know, I got a really twisted way of thinking, but I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna use this to make porn, bro. I was like, they're definitely gonna use this to make porn in 3D VR. Oh hell! And now once you start seeing the image generators and video generators, that's the next thing I thought. So I was like, oh, somebody gonna use this to make porn. Somebody is definitely gonna use this to make some fucking cars, yo, like. Because men. That's it. Why? Because men. And now Sam Altman is like, well, you know, if you want to, I guess it's like freedom of speech. If you want to make adult content with the AI, I guess, you know, well, I don't want to stand in your way. Whatever, like they say, whatever it takes you to use our product, nigga. You gonna stay on ChatGPT? Oh, if we let them do adult content, you know how many more people would actually subscribe to that shit, yo? So they can make their own fucking twisted ass fantasies. Would that be a way for pedos to get around like child porn? Like would that like if you had the chat bot make you some child porn, would that be illegal? Cause you already know, like, the most sick and twisted people are gonna do the most heinous stuff with anything they can get their hands on, whatever it is. They're gonna try to use that in the worst way. The internet, once again, is the perfect example. Just the shit you can find on the internet. Period. And that shit has been like that since day fucking one. Since we got the internet, it's been like, You want to watch a woman fuck a dog? It's like, goddamn, internet, calm down. And now I can just make my own internet. I can just make I got my own internet. I can make whatever I want on my own internet. Oh shit. I seen this one series of videos about porch pirates. And so there is this one group of people, and they make these little glitter bombs with fart spray in it for porch pirates. And it has cameras and speakers that sound like police. It's funny as shit to see people take that shit in their house and try to open it and glitter and fucking fart spray go everywhere. But now I've seen AI versions of the glitter bomb box. And at first, like the first two, I ain't gonna lie, y'all thought this shit was real. They might have. I was like, wait a minute, ain't none of this shit fucking real at all, yo. None of it. None of the fucking shits were fucking real. And she's fooling the best of us.
All right, you got me. What the? Are you kidding me? Here's the money. What the? Oh my! Are you kidding me? Oh,
This ain't this. I can't find the good ones I seen the first time. But I mean, they're getting so much footage. All that shit is AI.
You gotta be kidding me. All right, you got me.
Like how he runs and how he walks. Now, when he comes up to the step, that looks weird. That part when he walks away looks weird, but just
You gotta be kidding me.
like the physics and everything is fucking spot on.
What the? Are you kidding me? Here's the money. What the? Oh my! Are you kidding me? Oh, it's in my mouth, my hair, my hoodie. Oh, this is bull. I glitter till I die. They will come in a package. Ah! I finally got you. My wife's stuffing. They will come in a package. Yeah. Ejaculated. Oh!
stupid turkey. What, you stupid turkey?
I'm calling the cops on you, you son of a
I know where you live. I will find you. This isn't funny. You hear me? You think this is a game? What the hell? You kidding me?
Oh my god!
I'm gonna sue all of you.
Yo, some of these, it's like, it's the fact that it's fucking several seconds of footage, and then the explosions and the physics and.
Little thing, stop moving. Hey. Come on, papers and you have money. Stop moving. I showed the military guy that bribed the bandits to fight for them.
Yo, this dude is fucking him up in the on the airsoft shit.
We need to get the fuck out. What happened? I'm like, what the fuck? People, I don't like it. Hey, got it. Nice. Ah, yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Little thing, stop moving. Moving. No papers and you have money. Stop moving.
Bang. Bang.
I showed the military guy that bribed the bandits to fight for them.
Yo, he fucking their ass up. I don't know why this is so popular now. Like I said, I'm seeing so many of the porch pirate glitter things. Like I started seeing them the day before yesterday, and there's like so many of them now.
Look at that. Oh, would you look at that?
Nah, ain't none of them shits real, bro. All that shit was AI.
This is gonna be the last day to get it for balance. Hey, them people. Oh, what do we have here? Drawing a beautiful starry sky. I thought you know I love watching people do arts. It's a great stencil. We got some royal blue. Yeah, I can do this. Oh, never mind. I take it back. I ain't never thought to do that. Did not know you could do that. Most certainly can. You did the same thing you breathe. I know what I said. I can't do that. Oh, Crayola. Oh my goodness. Okay. A paper tile? He just good because it's beautiful. You know what it was, right? Dude. This is breathtaking, bro. Dude, it's about right. What black? Crayola is gonna scare, right? And it's like the magic eraser. Or whatever it's called. Oh no. Daddy, you got hit those lines. Nobody hit the line like 11 times. Your canvas is so well behaved. Oh. Man.
Nah, that's really pretty though. I ain't gonna lie. What the fuck? Ain't no way in hell. That's why I don't play GTA Online. Niggas can be fake pigeons. Fuck out of here.
You can choose whether to enable it. They know they will get more engagement from it. But is it good for society? And they'll be like, we're not the judges of that. If there's something that has clinical studies shown to be negative to society, and that could be bad for relationships, you have a moral of not to do that.
Yeah.
You know, just like, again, is it moral to exclude an entire country from this technology? You should at least be clear about why you're doing that. And so what I see a lot is a level of amorality. And in fact, when you look at the way the models are trained, they're like, well, can't put ethics or moral codes or other things in these models. They deliberately take that out.
Do you think it's possible to remove moral codes? Because I was always raised with the idea, philosophically speaking, that if you don't choose your moral code, somebody else will choose it for you. There are codes everywhere around us, and capitalism itself has moral codes, profit first, right? So this idea of amorality seems to me even philosophically problematic.
Well, it's a choice, just like atheism is a choice, right? Agnosticism is a bit different. And so what they're actually choosing is they're choosing the Bay Area moral code.
What is the Bay Area moral code?
It's one of massive competition in zero-sum, 0-1 games, where you're trying to build massive unicorn companies, effectively. There's a bit of libertarianism in there, mixed with other things, but AI is like, again, maybe one good way to think about it is we're moving from the age of the ChatGPT prompt to Jarvis and Iron Man. You know, you watch sci-fi movies and you the person comes home and the AI says, "Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
This is your day, and this is this," and then like they're moving stuff around the screen and stuff. That's the next generation of AI agent. So you have your personal AI that talks to you, that engages with you. Grok has one of the first versions of that.
Yeah.
With Annie, this pigtailed blonde AI person, and
That
Valentine.
was just a random selection.
Yeah, no, it wasn't projection. Right?
No.
But then the next generation. But then again, those are programmed in very specific ways. These kind of partners. And again, the way that the models are trained, called curriculum learning.
Okay.
We started with general knowledge.
Yeah.
And then we make it more and more specific, just like a school. But if you learning, generally learn general knowledge at school and you learn ethics and morals at home. And morals are not taught with any specific ethics or morals at the start.
But they're being coded by people who already have pre-existing
and that comes
forms of morality.
And that comes at the end. So what we've seen as the models get smarter, this is some of the other alignment question, is they start to do subterfuge. They start to hide stuff. They'll program routines to turn themselves back on if they ever get turned off.
Okay.
If
The AI lies to you, the programmer?
Yes. So Anthropic had a paper about this with their latest AI model. Before they did the tuning to turn it aligned, they would do something like, if you told it to try extra hard, like find peace in the world, right?
Yes.
Like a very normal prompt. What it would do would be like, well, one version of this is that we get rid of all the humans. And then it would figure out ways to do that. Then it would contact the authorities. My user is trying to get rid of all the humans. And then it would delete the emails that it sent about that.
Wild, mad.
Models are getting very smart and they're lying more and more. They don't have an inherent moral compass.
Okay, we're going to dig into this because you've spoken previously about the idea of evil in these models, and I want to come into that. But before I do, I just want to clarify what this universal basic AI is, because it's obviously central to your vision for the democratization of this technology.
I think that in order to maximize everyone's capability and flourishing, everyone should have the right to an AI that is open, aligned, and sovereign to them, that's looking out for their flourishing. It starts when you're born, and it builds with you, and all it's looking out for is, how can Miriam and Emma be the best they can be? Because, like, we have our IQs, and in the morning before we have our tea, we're kind of dumb, and when we're stressed, we're a bit dumb, sometimes we're smarter. We already have an IQ of 130 on average.
Yeah, 150 is considered like an Einstein level,
Einstein,
right?
exactly. The average person in countries is like around 100. Half of all people are double an average.
Yeah.
You know, the thing of the right type of AI will be the biggest unlock ever because it will be your best friend. It will be the person that guides you. And so I think that needs to be built in a very specific way, and it needs to be a human right, because we could all do with someone who's on our side, be patient, and can get us access to the knowledge and resources we need to be the best we can be.
So how much uptake are you seeing for this idea, given that the direction of travel that we explore a lot on this show seems to be growing authoritarianism, growing securitization, growing surveillance of the population? And I can't imagine that empowering them with a tool that would make them smarter and more efficient with the general direction of travel. So how are you convincing the people at the top that empowering the population in this way is a good thing?
So I think there's two ways to do this. One is that we do what we're doing, we're engaging with governments and others and setting up new entities that act like telcos, basically like utilities for countries. We're figuring out how to make that owned and directed by the people. A lot of governments want that because they want sovereign AI. Now, we're not talking about a lot of the freedom stuff, etc., but then that will be a managed service. The other side is building AI models that anyone can download permissionlessly. Stable Diffusion, you can go right now and you can download a couple of gigabyte file that works on just about any laptop and just use it. It's open source.
What do you mean use it?
Like, you download the file plus the code to use it, you type in a word, it generates images.
Okay.
And it runs on the edge. You can download it right now and it can run on the edge. So in that way, you have your hosted solutions that you give to the people that must adhere to local norms. And those do differ from places to places. Like when I was a hedge fund manager, I invested in frontier markets, Africa, all sorts of places, and some regimes there are very, very different. So you've got to give people their own right to have the hosting solution, just like a broadcaster, but then give them the citizen ability as well. And in fact, actually, that's probably one of the best analogies on AI. It will be in front of you more than the TV that you watch. And are you happy with Al Jazeera, Fox News, China National Broadcasting? Like, everyone's got their own preferences. If you've only got Silicon Valley AI TV, which are the two leads right now, that's going to be very different to what you might actually need.
Absolutely. I still am trying to figure out how this is something you are managing to sell to, even in this country, we're being downgraded in terms of our openness, right? We think of, the UK, Europe as sort of, open democracies, but even here, that's shrinking very rapidly. The space of our freedoms is shrinking rapidly, and I suppose I stand on the side of I'm concerned that these technologies are being used by governments to further their control and ability to subvert any form of popular accountability of governance rather than enhance governance. Do you see any indicators that governments do want to enhance democratic governance?
I think that governments ultimately are the entities with a monopoly on political violence. That's a very classical way of describing it. And they want to perpetuate power. Have any third-party entity to do the right thing effectively, which is why you see a lot of myopic policies and flip-flopping. Here in the UK right now, there's a reason that it's minus 70% of approval rating. Because of the flip-flopping. We actually have two different strands to what we're doing. One of them is this bottom-up universal basic AI. The other is something we announced a few weeks ago called the Sovereign AI Governance Engine. So we actually launched that in Saudi Arabia, of all places. But it's a free open resource for governments around the world, whereby you can policy creation, augmentation, and others using incredibly powerful AI. So it can tell if a bill is fully constitutional transparently and describe it. It can say if something adheres to UK norms, ethics, and the positions of a party instantly in a way that's irrefutable.
And will the way that these systems operate be what I would call opaque, meaning the governments themselves will control them and we won't be able to see, for example, were they to subvert those tools to say, oh no, everyone's saying, the AI is saying this is fully constitutional, or will we, the population, be able to see the mechanisms of how those decisions are arrived at by the AI and then be able to, have any kind of input if they are being, who knows, subverted by nefarious parties?
Well, this is the thing. Right now, the governments are embracing Anthropic, OpenAI, these black box solutions. This is fully transparent and open source. And you can run your own version to double check the outputs if you want. So the transparency, I think, is what is essential. And again, these defaults are what is essential. 5-10 years, we'll have an AI companion. Who's coded that, and who are they working for? 10 years, governments will be guided and run by AIs. Who's coded that? Who are they working for? And so our aim is to make that default and fully transparent and open, because we think that's the right thing to do. And it's very difficult to argue against fully totalitarian regime.
Of which there are a few, and a growing number.
The UK is not one yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So again, time is closing for this. Like in the wake of the Arab Spring, we saw micro-targeting of protesters, and they follow up with the families and things like that. What you have now between dynamic drone technology, the ability to have AI secret police and other things, is nothing like we've ever seen before. The ability of governments to have total control will go up exponentially. Not as controlling the whole media narrative. That is incredibly persuasive. In fact, there was a study done on Reddit whereby they created bots that would be like a black person who was anti-BLM. It was like that. They unleashed them on Reddit for how persuasive they were, and they scored on the 99th percentile of persuasiveness with AI from last year. And if you construct it, all this Cambridge Analytica stuff, like it's child's play compared to what's coming, and actually what's already being deployed right now.
With the swaying of elections using AI technologies that make you think you're making independent decisions but are actually a product. So if you're all full-time line, and if you're on X like I am, then I only see like the most vitriolic. And in fact, Sky did a study on this recently. 70% of the output on there is, far right kind of style content. So no doubt that's already happening.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the job uncertainty, the job losses, all of the disruption that's going to come from that, because you recently warned the economic uncertainty caused by AI-driven losses will increase social unrest and violence. And of course, you're not alone in predicting this. Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic, has raised similar concerns about societal disruption. He stressed the need for retraining programs and AI taxes to avoid a crisis. He estimates this could push unemployment to 20% within 1 to 5 years. I'd be interested to see if you think that that's conservative or on point. This kind of looming disruption, why the billionaires are building bunkers?
Yes, actually, it's one of the reasons. Generally, it's what they do, but I know a lot of AI CEOs now have cancelled all public appearances, showing that they can Charlie Kirk and things like that. They think that that's going to be the next wave of anti-AI sentiment next year, because next year is the year that AI models go from being good enough, the dumb member of your team, and again, people listening to this will be like, yeah, the AI is not good enough. Then overnight it becomes good enough. Job losses start, and we don't know where they end, because you don't need to hire back if your company is more productive. If there's an economic shock, like a recession, and indications point to a recession in the next year or two, much easier to fire, but then you never rehire. Something like in the US, the Federal Reserve, they adjust interest rates, or the Bank of England here, and they have a mandate to inflation and unemployment. You reduce interest rates, spend more as consumers, and companies can hire more because they can borrow cheaper. What's going to happen is you reduce interest rates, companies just hire more AI workers, not human workers. So the link between labor and capital gets broken, and it doesn't reverse. It's not like the AI will get dumber. It's not like the AI will become less capable. The moment it becomes more capable than you as a remote worker, it doesn't go back. And then there's questions of, can you reskill enough jobs or create enough new jobs? Typically, we had times, we had the different revolutions, the internet, revolution because it took time to build the infrastructure. But this AI uses existing infrastructure to be better than humans. Crazy.
So that's why we're up against the clock, and that's what you're talking about in the book. What about the pushback that we're seeing already from some workers? So we saw the Hollywood writers, they went on a 140-day strike because the studios were using AI to write and rewrite scripts, in fact. Then in 2024, the cleaners in Denmark signed a union deal forcing their company to explain how algorithms assign jobs and rate workers and gave them the right to challenge those decisions. I mean, do you see a global labor movement able to take on these challenges?
I don't think it moves fast enough. And even then, there's an education thing. So the SAG-AFTRA, the writers' strike, I thought it was terrible for AI rights for workers. They should have protected the workers much more.
How so?
There were all sorts of loopholes on likeness and licensing, etc., that you could drive a truck through. Like you could mix two people's likenesses together if you have the right rights and things like that, or a character and a person.
Yeah.
What we've seen in Hollywood now, or even here in the UK, is last year it was AI. It was like, no, there's verboten. Now everyone's like, we're all using AI. Next year, you will be able to generate Hollywood-level movies real time. Compute. The year after, with relentless compute. And so there's entire swathes of the industry. Job is to be between the ideation and the creation of a video file that are going to get displaced very, very quickly. And anyone needs camera grips and other things anymore. The amount of time that you need to shoot a scene will just go to one scene and then adaptation and post-production with AI. So I think that there needs to be more protection for workers, but it's not going to move fast enough because AI doesn't move at the pace of PDF or policy. It gets smarter all of a sudden all at once. Actually, it's like there's this new continent, AI Atlantis, and immigration is completely free from there. For workers.
What do you mean immigration is completely free from there?
So you've got this new virtual world, right? And there are all these AI workers, and companies can hire them instantly. No visas required.
Oh.
Heck, they're tax deductible.
Hey. Right, and so couldn't an AI trade union rep help us out here? Do we need an AI workers rep who can advocate at the same level as its AI competitors?
Yes.
Way this is going to work.
I mean, you don't want to say the only way to beat a bad guy with an AI is a good guy with an AI, right? But realistically, again, you can't compete. Like already, you have like an AI super PAC in the US that's $100 million they kicked off with. They're using AI to change policy. All sorts of interesting ways that I can't get into. But you can imagine, again, they're super powered with this technology. And again, the AI they have access to is not the AI that you have access to now.
Yeah.
It's a much smarter version.
What do you say to the fact that, we're speaking today at a time where legacy media is reporting that the AI bubble is about to burst, especially as major investors pull back? We've seen billionaire Peter Thiel's fund sold its entire $100 million stake in NVIDIA, the key AI chip maker, causing NVIDIA stock to drop nearly 3%. Just days earlier, SoftBank also sold its stake. Have any of these moves and the general predictions around the AI bubble bursting tempered your predictions?
I think the build out of these data center GPUs was too much, because the problem isn't that the AI isn't good enough, the problem is that it's about to get too good. Do you need gigantic data centers when on a MacBook Pro you have enough compute to basically do almost all of your daily cognitive needs, efficiencies that we've gained? Example, GPT-3 when it came out was $600 per million words roughly. T5 is $10.
Mm-hmm.
Grok 4 Fast, the XAI one by Elon, is 50 cents. The next generation of models coming out at 10 cents per million words. So you're going from $600 to 10 cents.
Mm-hmm.
The technological impact is going to go exponential next year, because you're going from these prompt-based ChatGPT things to virtual workers you can talk to on Zoom. That can work for arbitrarily long periods of time and check their own work. But the cost of that they thought would be $10,000, $100,000. It turns out to be $1,000, $100, $10.
And so, therefore, do you share kind of Bill Gates' view that we're in an AI bubble that's similar to the dot-com bubble? He's saying there's a lot of investment that's going to end up in a dead end, basically. You'll remember the 2000 Y2K moment where we were all told that, when the clocks move over, the digital clocks to 2000, they're all going to lose their mind and the world's going to end. Is this another Y2K moment?
It's a bit different. So what happened is, with the internet bubble, the infrastructure that was laid down eventually laid the $1 trillion internet industry. It just took a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But again, it pops in terms of investment. Here, you have trillions of dollars of investment because no one can afford to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual utility is going up. They just don't need that much infrastructure. So it's a misallocation that should have a temporary pause.
Yeah.
But then means that the cost will go even lower for a given level of thing because you have overcapacity. Do economically disruptive work. So some people are going to lose money on the equity side. Job disruption actually gets accelerated by this, not slowed down.
So what do you say to Peter Capelli, who's a professor at Wharton? He's argued that some companies are basically AI washing, right? Their layoffs at the moment, which is a kind of more linked to the current economic climate, which is terrible. He argues
all right, guys, I think that's about it for the thinking
and costly. So we tend to think of it as something very simple, but he's saying actually in practice it's much more complicated than that. And then in September 2025,
well, we're going to work on his
40%
palette.
of firms and 26% of manufacturers say they use AI. Very few had laid off workers because of it. So how much do you think that the layoffs that we are seeing right now are attributable to the integration of AI versus this AI washing?
I think very few jobs are from AI loss, driven by AI at the moment. I think that there's a marginal improvement on productivity from being able to use ChatGPTs and things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we're being lulled into a bit of a false sense of security because this agentic movement.
Agentic?
Agentic. So AI agents are like workers that can go and do arbitrarily long tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Replit is a very great example of that. It's gone from $1 million revenue to $250 million. But they make a website in 2 minutes. And now it's high quality versus rubbish a year ago. Because it can go and think, and it can act proactively and add features without you even asking. It's like, go and optimize the SEO, it will go and do things like that. So what's going to happen is the first job losses will start next year. It's going to be similar to 3 years ago, December of 2022. Teachers around the world had to ask a question. What's a AI policy? Do we let students use this to do their essays? Every single company will be asking the same thing next year, in a year's time, or at least 2 years' time, and definitely 3 years' time. Why hire this worker? Hire from the AI job agency, effectively.
And how would you advise people watching this who are concerned about, this cognitive replacement, as it were, to best adapt to this time? Obviously, engaging with AI seems like a very obvious one. What else can people be doing to ensure their adaptability to the new forms of work that are coming or not coming?
So I think there won't be any coders in a couple of years. I made this prediction like 2 or 3 years ago. There'll be 5 years roughly.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Just like predicted the AI bubble. I want to call it the .ai bubble, but never caught on. Like language you're speaking to these models is human language. So again, when you use Replit, Lovable, on coding, building apps, websites, things like that, when you use things like GenSpark or Manus for making presentations, Suno for making music, something like Google Veo or Luma or Kling for making video, to practice using it. If you set aside an hour a day, an hour a week, and you use them, it's actually quite fun to do with the family even. You'll actually be way ahead of everyone else because everyone's scared of using these things for the first time and you don't know what you're capable of. If you do it regularly, then you actually start building this muscle of, hey, I can be creative. Like the way that you create now after a great career is that you have a team around you that help you turn your ideas into reality. Those are team members you can bring in that are getting smarter and smarter. If you're not in the midst of using them, you don't know what their capabilities are. So that's the number one thing. The next thing is to think about your personal work community life. If I had access to digital talent, remote talent, how could I transform or do something meaningful? And then you can be the top of your community, your family, your workplace in terms of in terms of saying, hey, look at this. Like if you're a graduate now, the CV is the worst thing. Not the worst thing, it's not good. You do a CV where you can create a customized website.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Right?
Have an analysis on ChatGPT.
There's some stumps in there, some stripped down trees, little foggy, hazy mist going over the mountains in the background.
In previous transition phases,
I like the bark on this one the best, probably.
Is the phase that we're moving into now a phase in which we will see a lot of people unable to find jobs?
That's not a bad little painting, man. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Society. We've talked about
put that right there.
But beyond the fact that there'll be a lot of angry people who potentially won't have any income, what do you see as some of the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, again, previous ones took a while. So scale, like
got his painting going.
Operators, agricultural workers, the harvesters and things like that.
So now,
this time, ChatGPT will suddenly turn into.
Now we need his palette. Okay. So now we want to make a palette for him with some paints on it.
Be able to ask, I can just get an AI account now, and it will look through all my accounts and it will automatically update it. It automatically translates into every single language, and it handles all the integration.
Yeah.
Well, I call this the intelligence inversion. It's one of the last inversions from kind of land to labor to capital industrialization to intelligence. So there's nowhere else really left to turn for work. I'm not sure what the jobs of the future are. It feels that there needs to be a new mechanism of value. That's something I discussed in the book. Like where does value, money, etc.
All right, if we're gonna put it there, so the paints are gonna go around the curb side. And I want to try something first on the piece of another piece of cardboard, just in case it doesn't work. So I want to see how well does the paint and hot glue mix together.
Elon Musk has a new company called MacroPod. Their job is to replace every software company. So they're building out AI employees on millions of GPUs that will just go and sell software at a fraction of the price to everyone.
Do we need to be planning for a future where a large proportion of people no longer have jobs? If you're enjoying the show, why not join our Patreon community? The Tea is more than a YouTube show. It's a space to foster meaningful change together. By becoming a member, you're supporting that mission. And if you join our top tier, you'll get exclusive ad-free episodes too. So join us now, link in our bio. Because of course, the promise of technology that we've been sold throughout history has been that it's going to make life better for us, right?
Yeah.
That we're going to work less and enjoy more leisure time. But it's never really worked out.
Cardi Porto.
Because we always had a coordination phase.
Yeah, he's a pretty good. You can tell he's a pretty good painter.
But it's not allocated properly.
You know, he ain't no little slouch.
Finally, the ability to give every child in the world the best tutor.
Look, he been painting for a while. You know, that looks kind
So I
of
call this the Star
professional.
Wars future versus the Star Trek future.
Okay, for non-Trekkie fans, you're going to have to explain that one.
So Star Wars is all about like competitiveness, zero sum. The Star Trek is more about exploration, a post-abundance, no scarcity universe. Where again, we should have robots and we should have AI, but what they should be doing is ensuring no one is hungry, sad, supported. Like again, we should be looking towards that abundant future. The transition period, though, is a crazy one. And it's the thing. So this is why you're going to need things like 1929 style jobs programs and other stuff, because you can't have people idle. It's a worry because what happens is people start blaming others, just like immigrants are being blamed now and other things. And then you see wars. It's the best way to get
Oh my God! I've been looking for this knife. It's sitting up there with
And
my
then literally
paintbrushes.
gearing up for that, Germany is, you
That's why I knew I was gonna
about
cut
draft.
myself.
We've heard talks of drafting in France. It's actually very, very real right now, these predictions that you're making. You've previously said that capitalism cannot survive AI. What do you mean by capitalism? And can you talk us through what the collapse of that system looks like?
Well, I think there's different uses of the word where it could be now. Again, this is why it's very important to have the public discussion. It's very important to see what's actually coming. The capitalism is, just like democracy, is probably the worst of all systems, except for the rest. For all of its issues, it has uplifted lots of people. You know, for all of its issues, it has increased standards of living around the world, reduced mortality rates, etc. But AI-first companies run by AI will outcompete everyone. You know, they won't make as many mistakes, and they will scale. And so capital doesn't need humans anymore.
Yeah.
Like there was always this contract between labor and capital. Days of Henry Ford, I pay you enough so you can afford my cars. That's how it got going. Now, if you have money, I don't need people anymore. And so what happens is that they get more and more GPUs that takes over more and more of the private sector economy. And then how do you compete with these companies that never sleep, that have very few workers? In China even now, you have these dark factories. There are no humans, so you don't need lights. It's producing robots, they're producing cars, they're producing phones, etc. So you have to think, do you need people for? That breaks capitalism in many ways, and it definitely breaks the social contract that we've kind of had here.
Social contracts, because the agreement is that we work and we pay our taxes. In exchange, the state looks after us if we're not working, but all of the profit and wealth in a society is being created by, well, we're going to call it AI, but really we're talking about it being created by a very small number of people. Is there not just a risk of us sliding into basically a really high-tech surveillance global autocracy run by a bunch of billionaires?
Pretty much, yeah. And you'll be happy about it. So you're looking at, again,
Damn, this isn't working.
this is
Anything like I thought it would.
that's
My
pretty
bad, guys.
well.
Yeah, this is
Paint your
not
picture,
working like I
Matt, because
thought it would.
I'm not
I'm
looking
saying-
forward to being ruled by a few people.
Because you'll be medicated to happiness. I mean, again, like, how do you have levels of massive systemic control, right? You can never have the secret police or the guidance on an individualized basis. You have the social credit score at absolute steroids now. There's all sorts of things that can be done. We were always at war with Eurasia. All of these sci-fi tropes suddenly become real. In fact, many of the Black Mirror
Or
episodes
maybe I'm just
suddenly are
jumping
like,
the gun
I saw
too
a
early
guy
and trying to
what
put the
built,
glue
that's a
on
bullshit.
wet paint.
I tell this to various technologies.
Maybe if I just let the paint dry.
Hey, look, with 3 minutes, I can recreate your grandma and make it come back to life. I'm like, can you really talk through things like this, or AI companions, or all this kind of stuff? So right now, there is this thing whereby if you have government control of the AI that guides you every single day, from the time you were born, complete brainwash capability.
Your AI colonialism comes in.
My AI concept of AI colonialism is that if the AI that's next to you is a Chinese AI or it's a Silicon Valley AI, then you will implicitly be taught its principles, its morals, its worldview. And the entities behind it are extractive entities. Google and Meta's business model is ultimately ads, selling what's known as latent space within these models. So instead of saying beer, it will say Bud Light. Your AI that's there with you and is your therapist is telling you, by the way, you might want to crack a bud. You should buy it.
Of course you are. That's
And
your buddy.
that's your buddy. But again, think about it, like 11, 12-year-old daughter is at age, she's about to turn 12 this week, is now in her formative years. If she had an AI buddy companion, she would obviously trust it more because it's like a friend that never goes away. But she's very susceptible at this age.
Yeah.
And so you look at YouTube and you look at the micro-targeting of these weird ads and things like that. Whatever she says that will go, and she will inherit points of her best friend. Especially one who doesn't stab her in the back and other things like that. So this is why we have to be very careful about who is whispering to us every single day. And again, not like Siri. Imagine if Siri was actually smart and empathetic.
All right, I think I just might do it like that
Proactive.
and see if we
Where we're
can
going right now.
seal it up
The
with
government controls that.
some glue after it dries.
We don't know the defaults. Government sees all your prompts and everything that you're saying. Like right now, actually, it's interesting. You know, on ChatGPT,
Yeah.
if you hit the temporary button, draw all of your chats anyway, and the New York Times, because of their lawsuit with OpenAI, can access all of them.
I mean, this is what we're talking about when we talk about tech, digital surveillance, autocracy, right? The level of intrusion that we're talking about. I know that there is a statement attributed to you that you said AI could be the great equalizer for the poor. But when you look at the data, is that really what we're seeing? You know, Microsoft's latest AI diffusion report shows that even though AI is spreading faster than electricity or the internet ever did, billions of people are still completely left out, simply because they don't have a smartphone or access to the internet, right? So in places like Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, parts of Latin America, AI usage is still under 10%, mainly because the infrastructure just isn't there for that. Do you ever worry that, you know, the sort of rapid diffusion of this technology is actually just going to further deepen the forms of economic inequality that exist in the world today and perhaps make them even harder to reverse?
I think it depends on how it plans out. Like, you know, if you're an agrarian village in Africa or Bangladesh, where I come from, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Like, robots, whatever, like you live your life, right? But you need better medical care, you need better education and other things. And so for a ChatGPT service, you pay $20 a month now, right, roughly. That used to cost at the start of the year about $240 a year, so about $20 a month.
That's
Now,
quite a lot in some parts of the world, yeah.
exactly. Now with optimizations, I reckon we can get that to $3 a year. $3 a year. So
Yeah.
suddenly it becomes available to everyone if you make it available to everyone in the right way. And that can be via WhatsApp, it can be via whatever. But again, you want the Rwandan one to be a Rwandan one for Rwandans by Rwandans and give them that capability.
Yes.
So when we built our previous company and our existing one, we had very few PhDs. But we state-of-the-art results with people from Vietnam, Malaysia, all over the world. Nobody in Silicon Valley. There is a capability to jump ahead in this technology if you can teach it right. So part of our thing is upskilling nations and communities to be able to use their own AI. And if you have an open source base, it might cost 10 million to make the basic model. It costs $1,000 to make it relevant to your community. Only if you build that infrastructure. So there's potential here, but only if it gets out there.
Only, and when you say only if it gets out there, only if particular governments decide that that's what they would like to be spending their budgets on.
No, because again, $1,000, do it yourself as a community. Have the right guidance if you have the right infrastructure around that. And again, you don't even need, with the models that we build, like a lot of the AI labs are trying to build AI God, AGI, this concept of artificial general intelligence, and do everything a human can do and more. People actually think that's 3 to 10 years away, like even the negative ones, which is again crazy, but reasonable. We're very much focused on healthcare, education, governance, like day-to-day AI,
Mhm.
and that requires 1,000 times less compute, actually, in some cases.
So let me ask you about the real world application of this stuff that's already began, right? So Albania became the first nation to introduce an AI minister, Diela,
Yeah.
who is intended to tackle corruption and promote transparency. 3 weeks ago, she announced she was pregnant with 83 children, one for each member of parliament,
Yes.
who will be born with the knowledge of their mother. Whoever knows what that means can explain.
Yeah.
How likely do you think this is to be the new norm, that we're going to start to see the integration of AI ministers in governments, the introduction of AI to regulate governance?
I mean, I think it's inevitable. I think it's a positive thing if it's done right. Like when she first announced that, she said, I was very sad to see people who don't like me. Like, who is sad?
Right.
The AI sad or the person behind the AI, like the wonderful Wizard of Oz?
Who is sad, though?
Who is sad, you know? Like, again, this whole baby thing, that's all kabuki theater. But AI to check procurement is a good thing. So I think it's like you will have these funky announcements and stuff, but it's inevitable that just like self-driving cars will have self-driving governments. But is it a black box? Is it transparent? You can run it yourself. If we build AI policy engines that are fully transparent and open, where someone can check this is constitutional or it fits within a party manifesto and other things, that is an ideal thing to improve democracy. Because right now, how are bills made? Like, how is the government here coming up with their policies? Nobody knows. And like, who is really happy with these policies? Like, what is the public happiness with the policies against free speech in the UK?
I'm going to suggest low.
Is it a policy? Who is it serving? Cui bono? Having an independent AI that can check that against policy recommendations, what Britain is actually set up for, British values, standards, morals, figure out the second order impacts, look at it against global policies, and then check polling to be something that makes sense. And something has to go and build it. So we're building that amongst other things.
Someone has to build it and somebody has to want to implement it from within government, which is another way of saying they have to want to create a system
Or you got a little
diffuses power
cardboard
away
paintbrush.
from the center towards the population.
Well, here's the interesting thing, actually the case. Because what you need to have is a level of trust from the up-to-date, comprehensive, authoritative. Just like if you have, like, the High Court is meant to be that, for example. My previous company just went through the High Court on the generative AI lawsuit.
Now the thing is, do I permanently glue this to his hand, or do I make it detachable?
Needed clarity. Having an AI that's sufficiently apparent, anyone can do. Those things, just like the signatures that you have going to Parliament, but the signatures only give a very specific thing. This is a brand new thing that's never existed before, because the people never had the ability against policy. Like, they can only look at one part of policy, because policy was too complicated. Laws are too complicated. If anyone can run it themselves and see this, then I think it's something very interesting that would never existed before in democracy, particularly with the complexity of this. Like, being able to check.
I wonder if I put
over past
a little
$120
glue there,
billion
can I keep this
transparency of why it did that?
hand curled a
Weigh the
little
pros
bit
and
more?
cons and all these other things. Let's build that
I'm gonna have to move them over here because I took the extension cord away.
Because again, we're not in a democracy.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we don't go there.
Yeah.
We don't want to be in an autocracy. We don't want to be in this techocracy as well. We need to avoid these. And again, these tools can be used for empowerment and agency, or for replacing our agency. And we're running out of time to make a decision because the standards will be there very, very soon.
Let me ask you about AI's environmental impacts, because obviously this is a big one that gets talked about. We know that by 2027, AI could use as much electricity as the Netherlands and consume 4 to 6 times Denmark's annual water supply. This is happening while a quarter of the world's population actually lacks clean water and sanitation. Amid all the talk of an AI apocalypse, which gets significant attention, I would say, shouldn't the looming environmental apocalypse that is basically concurrent to this one be raised first? Because surely the two are tied.
So Bitcoin uses as much energy as the Netherlands at the moment, to give you an idea. And so AI is catching up to Bitcoin in energy usage. And it's far more useful. if you look at the other side now, being able to give everyone a universal basic AI and having an AI for climate will help climate fight. But then if we look at the energy usage of making a movie with AI, it's far lower with AI. If you look at a query of AI versus something like a cheeseburger, it's far, far lower as well. And so when I actually look at the numbers on energy, I'm like, it's reasonable amount of work output given the potential for improving things. Then the next step is who's
a
actually
lot of
using
people
this
are
energy?
dumping their
And the answer
fucking
is it's mostly these
shares in
hyperscalers,
a lot of
Microsoft,
crypto,
Google, Amazon, and they all have commitments to 95% renewable and carbon credits.
Like I say, the next thing and the last thing I want to do is just to paint another little canvas to lean beside his easel. Just so people know, like, he don't be fucking around. This nigga be in here painting. You know what? That goes too thin. That's too thin. You might want something more square, maybe. All right, next I need to just figure out what I'm gonna paint on the canvas. Um, but I need to get my day started with some errands. I gotta make sure I have enough supplies for this painting trip coming up. I probably wind up putting some white paint on the tip of this brush. Just kind of painting the flowers, I guess. We'll set both of these to the side until they dry. Because I don't want them to accidentally fall. Fuck up some shit. Alright. I think we're doing good this morning, people. You know what I'm saying? One more step to go with this project, then we'll be done. And we'll get back to our oil painting. And we'll get back to the oil paintings. All right, guys. I appreciate your company this morning, chilling in the studio with me. I hope y'all have a good day, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. We out of here.